Hello and welcome to Winchester News Online. I'm Kieran Tibbett. Coming up today, do you feel accepted? Matt O'Reilly opens up about injuries in the Premier League.
These are the vitamins I take every day.
And guide dogs take the lead. February is LGBTQ+ History Month, and Isabel Jones is asking the question, is all fair on this campus?
Do you feel accepted?
Well, there are people that do and people that don't accept me. So, like, for instance, I'm demisexual.
I'm Isabel Jones, and this is a deep dive into all things religious, cultural and social right here on this campus.
We have many Christian members in our network, and we don't discriminate based on things like religion because that would be completely against our values as a representative network. However, we all do have a lot of trauma when it comes to religion and such because of all the hateful things that have been said to us in the past. However, we don't let that stop us in the way that...
It's LGBTQ+ History Month. So how do the largest representative network on campus, the Christian Union, respond?
What does the Bible actually say anything about same-sex marriage, or is that sort of a myth?
The Bible doesn't support same-sex marriage. The Bible doesn't support kind of homosexuality or same-sex marriage. I think as Christians we acknowledge that people have those feelings and have those tendencies, and people who are Christians and often identify as that might kind of remain single or remain kind of not embracing a homosexual life, which might seem hard and might seem kind of unfair, I think. God calls that sin. And people from the LGBT community are very welcome, and that includes people who identify as different in different sexualities or different ways. They are very welcome to join us.
The Christian Union is holding events throughout the week, but how are these funded and supported?
So these events are funded solely through the Christian Union themselves. Sometimes you might call them alumni. Alumni sometimes give. They might remember the Christian Union back in their time and might be in a more financially stable position as a working adult. And they sometimes give to our bank account.
Or have you ever received funding from alumni?
Not that I'm aware of, no. And also sometimes it's like personal funds. For example, if we don't want to dig into what we call the honey pot, which is where our money is kept, then often we will sometimes fund little bits from ourselves. For example, we've got a Valentine's Day craft coming up this week.
So I raise the questions. Is this fair? Do you feel accepted? Isabel Jones, Winchester News Online.
Premier League side Brighton and Hove Albion have lost 8 players to injuries this season so far. Our reporter Rebecca Perez-Taylor went down to East Sussex to talk to Brighton player Matt O'Reilly about the issues surrounding his footballing injuries.
Okay, this is my living room, but it's also where I do a lot of my meditation and also a lot of my recovery bits.
The Premier League has had an increase in injuries and the severity over the past few years. There is currently an average of 5 injured players per team. Matt O'Reilly was one of the unfortunate players that got injured this season.
Yeah, it wasn't the most ideal start, to be honest. Obviously at Celtic I was there 2.5 years and I was available for every game, so it was a bit of a shock to the system that after 7 minutes I was done.
Brighton will play at least 48 games this season, but what do players think about this?
I think there's a lot of games. I think nowadays squads are obviously bigger as well though, so I think that's a factor to be taken into consideration. I would never complain about there being a lot of games because I enjoy playing and we obviously get paid to do it. But
what does the club recommend you to do to prevent injuries?
Yeah, lots of things. I think that's a big aspect of football. Good sleep is key. I always try to focus on that. Supplements, take a lot of vitamins that the club recommends to take. There's various different supplements here, such as Vitamin D, because the last 4 months we've barely seen the sun, so that's necessary. Fish oils, just good for recovery. Vitamin C, also good for that. Probiotics, good for stuff like gut health specifically, like really helpful for just cleaning that. And magnesium's also good for recovery and also good for sleep, so I take that. And then I also meditate a lot just to keep my mind in a good place, because I think mind and body correlates quite a lot, so that'll be my one.
On his first game back, he scored the winning goal against Manchester City. What was that like?
My first Premier League game, but also just my first game in a long time just on the pitch, so everyone asked me like, how did it feel to score, blah blah blah, but I didn't really care about that part as much. I was just happy to be out on the pitch playing, and I guess the goal was just a bonus, which was nice. You know.
Rebecca Perez-Taylor, Winchester News Online.
Have you ever been glutened? You may not be familiar with the term, but for people living with celiac disease and following a strict gluten-free diet, it's an all too familiar feeling. Approximately 1 in 100 people in the UK are affected by the autoimmune disease. I went to meet someone who has been navigating their gluten-free diet whilst at university. To some, it's seen as a fad, to others an intolerance, but those who eat gluten-free products tend to suffer from a condition you might not have heard of. Celiac disease, a condition where your immune system attacks your own tissues when you eat gluten, damaging the gut and not allowing nutrients to be absorbed properly. Symptoms can include nausea, tiredness and mouth ulcers, among many more. Charlotte is a mature student living in Winchester, and she was diagnosed with celiac disease in 2022.
I'm getting so many different symptoms. I'm struggling to put on weight again. I'm constantly having stomach issues. My skin is constantly breaking out. My hair's falling out. It is so fine. Like in the June, I finally got a blood test, and then it came back as positive. And then they did a biopsy, and the biopsy came back as really positive as well. Where I miss it is like when people are all on nights out and they're like, let's get some chips or something like that, and you can't have the chips because it's been fried in the same oil as something else. I am now in a position where I've got such supportive uni housemates that make sure everything's clean, it's non-contaminated.
Research from Celiac UK suggests only 36% of people who suffer with the condition have been diagnosed, leaving nearly 500,000 people not yet knowing whether they're going to have to start looking for this on their products. Celiac UK said,
following a diagnosis of celiac disease, some people are happy to have an answer to the problems they've experienced, whilst others may feel overwhelmed with having been diagnosed with an autoimmune condition. This is where Celiac UK can be of great support, helping people know where to start with their gluten-free diet and offering support to those who need it.
In May, Celiac UK are dedicating the entire month to raise awareness of celiac disease and are encouraging people to not only get involved with their campaign, but to get tested for celiac themselves. Kieran Tibbett, Winchester News Online. Following their 4-2 away loss at Walton and Hersham last week, Winchester looked to bounce back with a win at home to Hanwell. Elliot Norton was at the game.
Winchester were determined to start the game strongly, as both Trevor Caborn and Tommy Wright had chances to score inside 10 minutes. But for the second game in a row, the citizens would concede first, as Harry Seabrook lost his man to head Hanwell in front. Winchester were the better team in the first half, but they were unable to find the finishing touch, as IK Hill saw his shot saved by Sam Besson. Both teams looked for a goal before the break, with Hanwell being inches away from the second. Into the second half, and Winchester continued to waste their chances as they tried to get level. Josh McCormick's effort showed signs of frustration. Their breakthrough came in the 93rd minute as Tommy Wright fired in the equaliser. But manager Craig Davis felt his team deserved more from the game.
I don't think we got a lot from the referee. I have to be honest about that, and gave them a lot of decisions. But what we could control, which we can't control what the referee's doing, we did pretty well and limited them to very few chances. Luke made a couple of important saves, but created a hatful. And we can't get the lads to put the ball in the back of the net. All we can do is kind of find ways and patterns to create chances, and we created plenty.
The result today sees Winchester move up to 15th in the league table, with a game in hand around teams below them. Elliot Norton, Winchester News Online.
Don't discount this next one as a children's game. Charlotte Pashley takes us through Ultimate Frisbee with Winchester's very own team.
ultimate frisbee is a growing sport. It was developed in America in the 1960s, and here today in Winchester is now a society. Let's go and check them out. Throwing frisbees, the ultimate frisbee team Kestrels are catching the eyes of students, with it taking place on Saturday outside at 11 AM to 1 PM, with their Sunday indoor sessions for a 9 PM start and an 11 PM finish, all at the University of Winchester.
We have indoors and outdoors. Indoors is 5-a-side, outdoors is 7-a-side. So today we'll be doing 5-a-side, and basically you've got two teams, and the aim of the game is to score in each other's end zones, but you'll have the other team marking you, and you're not allowed to move with the disc. So it's just passing it between your teammates to get it down to the other end to score a point in the end zone. Getting bigger in the UK, which I'm glad about, because it's a sport that everyone's a bit like, they're not sure what it's about and what it involves.
It's a good mix between everything. It's got catching, throwing, actually quite physically demanding. There's lots of running around, which I like.
The Kestrels' future looks promising, with the Cobra Cup tournament in Chichester on the 16th of March, as well as taking part in the Southwest Developing League with 3 matches to prepare for. Charlotte Pashley, Winchester News Online.
What's love got to do with it? University of Winchester staff are aiming to explore the power of love as Valentine's Day approaches. Beatrice Beresford has more.
As the Beatles claimed, all you need is love. But what is love? Lecturers of Humanities and Social Sciences at the University of Winchester can't help falling in love with the history and psychology behind this intimate feeling. From why people enjoy romantic fiction and ancient Greek attitudes of love to the relationship love played during the Holocaust. All will be explained on Thursday the 13th of February at the event titled For the Love Of.
So we have different academics from different departments giving their perspective, just one kind of introduction to the theme, and the theme for this event is love. So we've got people from psychology, history, classical studies. So my talk is called Emotion at the Extreme, Finding Love in Holocaust Narratives, and that it might seem quite an unusual topic area, but love is actually a really big theme in Holocaust narratives. So survivor testimonies talk about love an awful lot, but also diaries of the time and other documents that we have that are Jewish centred. A lot of that focuses in on love.
So, do you want to know what love is? Well, if this crazy little thing called love interests you, visit the Theatre Royale this Thursday. Beatrice Beresford, Winchester News Online.
Training a guide dog costs around £10,000, but a local group has raised an even greater amount for the charity Guide Dogs UK. Lenny Teague chased a lead to find out more.
An Eastleigh and Winchester fundraising group has reached a £13,000 milestone in aid of sight-lost charity Guide Dogs. Made up of local volunteers, the money raised will go towards the care of guide dog Alice throughout her working partnership. The group members are proud to have reached the milestone, having done so for a 6th time.
Oh, it's just been a joy to be part of it, and I'm very proud of the team, and obviously Dave and Danny who run the group. But yeah, I'm just proud to be part of it. It was just a brilliant achievement.
The work done by the group helps the charity care for the guide dogs during their partnerships, with the local Southampton community team also benefiting from this. We were invited to their office to see Kayla and Archie be trained on how to deal with a range of situations. Kayla was trained on how to manoeuvre around distractions and identify a traffic light, while Archie learned how to deal with a visit to the vet. The money raised plays a big part in the training of the guide dogs, and that has had a positive impact on those who own them.
Well, I mean, it's really important because the charity, they pay for everything. They don't get any support at all from the government, and it's all charity money. And they're just so beautiful. I mean, they look after the dogs from cradle to grave.
The work the Eastleigh and Winchester group has done for guide dogs cannot be disputed. The £13,000 raised acts as a statement of their intent, and it is clear how much this helps the cause. Lenny Teague, Winchester News Online.
How much do you know about your daily coffees? Well, Winchester barista Jenna Jobs has become a master in just that. Emily Byway went to find out what this means.
With so many people being coffee lovers, how much do you really know about coffee?
Well, Jenna Jobs has just become a certified coffee master.
My role is all about sharing the craft and the culture of coffee, so that entails things like sourcing, roasting, brewing, and tasting. I also get to educate others, so I get to tell all the knowledge that I've learned throughout my whole training, which is really fun. There's a lot of different things that entail being a coffee master. Becoming a coffee master is a huge milestone. It means I've developed an in-depth knowledge of coffee, from its origins and its flavors, to advanced brewing techniques. I also get to lead coffee tastings, which is one of my favorite parts of the job. So coffee tastings are mostly for employees and colleagues. It's for them to kind of learn all the different flavor profiles that we have. So the coffee tastings are really for all of us, our colleagues, to learn about coffee. And if a customer asks us about, what kind of flavors does a Sumatra have, you'd be able to kind of tell them a little bit about that. Yeah. It's quite a long process. Throughout the 2 years that I've been here, throughout the last year, I've kind of really focused in on doing my coffee master journey. So we go through a process called the Starbucks Academy. So we've completed about 4 different sections or kind of awards. So we have a Coffee Academy 100, 200, and 300, each one with different information and different history, things like that. I learned a lot about things like ethical sourcing, how to prepare and properly store coffee, and all of the coffee knowledge that you could really want. So you really learn all the ins and outs of coffee and how to educate that through other people.
Now Jenna has completed her training and become a coffee master, she can now take this skill and transfer it in the future. Alongside her job, Jenna is a photographer, and with this new title, she is able to combine those skills and creativity to further her role. Emily Byway, Winchester News Online.
An exhibition that has already attracted thousands of visitors has arrived at Winchester Cathedral. Whales, a deeper dialogue, features 3 large sperm whales and promises to transform the cathedral into an oceanic space. Mariella Southern went to visit the new inhabitants.
Come and see the latest exhibition making waves at the cathedral. Artist Tessa Fraser Campbell's Whales, a Deeper Dialogue features 3 sperm whales made from recycled fishing nets. They are suspended fittingly under the cathedral's nave, derived from the Latin word navis, meaning ship.
The whales are accompanied by these 16 banners and a wonderful meditative soundtrack of whale song. And the 16 banners visualise that whale song, so the artist has created these wonderful shapes that are the sperm whale's language, which is quite a wonderful thing to see. And there are scientists working on whale song at the moment, and they think that sperm whales will be the creature that we're most likely to have a conversation with in the future. So they're using AI and machine learning to be able to decode sperm whale language, which I think is quite fascinating, really.
Yeah, always the exhibitions are great, but whales are majestic and so beautiful the way they look after their babies.
So beautiful to hear they're clicking and communicating, which we know nothing about, but it's just so interesting to hear them sort of talk to each other like we do, but in a way that's so alien to us.
Well, it appears people are having a whale of a time here at the cathedral. If you want to see the exhibition for yourself, it's in Winchester until the 26th of February. Mariella Southern, Winchester News Online.
After their performance in December, Winchester Choir returns for an encore. Barbara Hoffling is set to add her name to the list of Winchester conductors as she leads them through their first full concert together at St Paul's Church. Connor Johnson went to see if they could still hit the high notes.
The choir consists of about 50 people who typically have day-to-day jobs and aren't able to practice much altogether as a choir, usually only coming together as a group once a week. Barbara, who originally grew up in Hanover studying as a violinist, conductor and singer, previously led the choir in their prior performance back in December.
I've actually conducted all my life at school already, but full-time I've been doing this for 5 years. I did it, we did an audition with them, and so I met them, and that was a choir that I liked a lot, and their singing was very nice, and they were very friendly people. People tell me what they like about me is that I'm very energetic and encouraging and fun to work with, and yeah, I mean other conductors do that as well. Hopefully the audience will see the fun that the choir has, and therefore will have fun as well.
The choir typically perform every 2 months and practice together every Wednesday in preparation for pleasing their paying audiences. Cameron Johnson, Winchester News Online.
That's all we have time for today. Thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.